What are you talking about? An error
It
occurred.
might be for. Oh my God! What are you talking about error for?
It literally popped
We're
up
live
on,
already.
dude. It literally popped up top right in my corner. It said there was an error with your intro video,
Listen, you
and
know
then it
what?
just popped out.
It's gonna be fine. Isaac,
Yes,
welcome to the show. Here, it's been a long time. This is
it has
Discover
been
Crypto Blockchain Basement collab. Isaac is a this is a big day, a somber day for me,
very.
but I know it's good for personal growth. Isaac, is it finally time that you're going to be joining the military? Is
This
this
is
happening?
my farewell show, everybody. I
Ah,
won't be here after today with Hit Network. I'll be
ah,
traveling all of October, and then I leave for the military in November. So I'm gonna spend a lot of time training all that stuff.
oh,
It's gonna be
man.
crazy, but it's gonna be good.
You know, I'm gonna miss you, but I know it's for the better. I know you're gonna, you know, you're growing up. This is part of life. You're growing up here, so I get it. I get it, man. Well, we got some stuff to talk about, especially regarding the military. This morning's meeting with Pete Hegseth, and I think it was over 800 generals met this
Mhm.
morning. Trump spoke. It was huge. Said some pretty
You need
big
to share your
stuff.
screen, by the way, sir.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna share the screen. You know
Oh,
what? We got to get into the show, and everyone, you know, that's watching us out there on X, on YouTube. If you get a chance, please do check out what we're doing over on the arena as well. We had, whoa, what's going on there? There we go. Matt Malik.
yeah, these sticks are killing me, man.
It's been a while since you flew the plane. I get it. I get it. Matt Malik is actually running the show for us currently on the arena, but I saw Nicole Ministators in there, Clarity, and I'm starting to see some of the OGs to the blockchain basement show up in the arena. Nicole, she won, was it like $10 in arena token today? You
I think
know?
so. I don't know.
So we went over some of the TA on Arena Token, Avalanche, everything, but I just had to give a mention. I know Nicole's going to be happy to see Mr. Isaac. Matt really wanted you on the show, but I just had to, you know, give you some time to get prepared for the show here. But let's check out. Make sure you are following us on the YouTube as well, folks. We are working hard on multiple channels. Discover Crypto, as well as Blockchain Basement. We're live there right now. BitLab Academy. And DeFi crypto airdrops are brothers Jeff and Veteran Crypto working hard on the mechanics behind DeFi for you. Now, it's been a insane 24 hours. Honestly, we are seeing Trump pull off some stuff, make some moves that are quite shocking. We're going to take a look at it, but first we have to take a look at the markets and see where everything is sitting right now. Really not that bad. Bitcoin at 113 and some change, 113.1. Ethereum at 4,100. XRP at $2.83. BNB just under $1,000. No major cataclysm down or up. Some of the gainers, MYX. This is absolutely nuts. You're welcome for the long call here. Holy God, I wish I'd left that long in a place though. I was long in this thing from $9.50. It is now at $15.60. MYX, the battles of perpetual futures on chain continues. Kind of crazy though. See conflicts up here and a little bit of privacy coins. Monero, Zcash. But let's look at the top losers here. Plasma. This is actually getting me quite excited for spot buying. You know me, Isaac. I don't buy spot very often.
Nope.
These new products, Plasma, Aster, I think they're coming out at a very, very good time. Plasma is more of this. They're kind of leaning into the stablecoin super cycle, good revenue, and Tether backs them. And then Aster with the Binance backing. I mean, it feels like you can't go wrong with this. But actually, let's look at where Bitcoin is and see if we're getting a bounce now. We are. So we almost completed everything that I was expecting to see yesterday. I actually I'll leave this here, but I'll delete it because yesterday I was talking about breaking out of the channel and coming back down to prove a support before a move. We almost got that full move, and it actually washed out a vast majority of leverage long positions that had left their exposure, their rear right in the air here. They got caught up. Big liquidity washout there, about 112.7 earlier this morning. As things sit right now, feels like some of the dark cloud of the dip is starting to leave, and now we're starting to maybe look at some better upside here. So the 12-hour Binance liquidation levels definitely showing two major magnets to the upside at 115.1 and 114.3. I'm snooping around for this pump moment. Some of the charts that I'm looking at really don't look too bad to maybe take my swings, my chops at for a potential long. And some of the ones that are on my mind are the top performers, like Avalanche is one of the top performers. It reset to about $28, but Avalanche is on my mind when I'm firing up this long system, when I'm looking for where is the support at. Bitcoin really is showing that it's quite strong, above $111,000 right now. We dipped obviously below it for a very short amount of time. And what I want to see eventually made out of this formation is essentially an inverse head and shoulders, where, this comes down, we swoop back up, and then we can do a measured move view of what that would actually look like. I was doing this earlier on the TA show for the arena, but kind of head and shoulders measured move from that shoulder line breakout point brings us back up to this top 118 zone. And that's where I think the next major battle in terms of price action is going to be found. I think 118 is going to be a battle. There's many points that have acted as resistance and then was attempted to be support at the last kind of channel high, where we had built our basic trajectory up to hit that recent all-time high on Bitcoin at $124,000. So retesting, checking, doing a plate check, a vibe check at $118,000 makes structural sense for me if this pattern continues to play out as I expected it to. Doesn't mean that we're out of the woodwork yet in terms of pullbacks, but I am seeing that price reacted very, very strongly and bounced nicely off of it. Now the daily trading has actually got a new higher low, $112,750. And this is a nice trend to the upside. So I see the sadness. Isaac, you've been doing a lot of moving actual studio work, okay? But this sentiment in crypto has been that you would damn near think it's over. As you've been kind of unplugged, you've been moving things. You come back to prices right now. Is anything shocking you on big gainers in your portfolio? How did you handle the drift move through this whole time? I covered drift when it was pumping for you. But I mean, what is your take on people essentially saying it's over right now?
So basically, it's been a minute. But when I left, when I started moving like equipment and started building these studios in the new office, crypto was where it's at right now. And then while in the middle process of doing all that, and then it took a dump because I was still paying attention for the most part, and it took a little bit of a dump. And drift went from that dollar section all the way down to like 70 cents. But I took profits at $1. I took half of my drift bag off the table at $1. And so I've just been sitting on that USDC and Solana.
You're taking profits on pumps. You're growing up on me. Look at
exactly. It's been a journey, but I've made it. And then we were sitting in the middle during the dump, and now we're back to where we were when I first started doing all this stuff. So when you say it's over, and I see after like a month and a half, if not two, of the same price level, and you say it's over, I just think you're an idiot. You don't have any brain cells moving up there in your head to really understand, that it's not over.
And this is just, I wanted to really dig into this because you've been disconnected and you come back and see the emotional basket case that is Twitter right now in this latest pullback. You see what people's outlooks are, the diminished expectations of altcoins. Just a good reminder from Isaac in the background. And he sold. So Isaac sold. The market is over because Isaac's
over. I'm out.
All right, let's get back to the chats here, and look at the rest of the news here. And anyone that wants to learn how to trade, I mean, I can understand the washout scary. This is why you need to learn with parameters. We have a great partner. Link in the description for Breakout Prop. Make sure that this is shared up. Use code DISCO, and you can get a great discount to go in here. What it does, you take a test, you pay for the test, and you can pay either $60 I think it's $66. And if you pass the test, get access to a $5,000 actual trading account. Or you can spend up to $1,000 on the test and get access to a $100,000 trading account. It keeps parameters around you. You can only use up to 5x leverage, and you can only lose up to 4% of your portfolio before you get cut off from that test. So anyone that wants to learn how to trade, I think it's a very logical first approach because emotions take control, especially in bull markets. You can see it clear as day on crypto Twitter. Emotional damage was done. Well, good morning, Hermanov. Isaac, I'll let you do the honors for Mr. Crypto Skibo
I'm
here.
so ready. I was
Yeah.
just waiting for you to finish the sponsor. Also, cool sponsor, by the way. Did not know y'all had that.
Yeah, I'm saying, I mean, it's a good thing to do. You know, it's a good thing to do. And do you know what else is a good thing to do?
You are banned.
That's right. That's it feels
You're
right.
banned!
It feels right.
Back.
Now this, oh God, this is kind of crazy. Imagine a drill sergeant recognizing Isaac from the channel. What would you do?
I'd kill myself. Okay. I can't say that. I would. I don't know.
You're so
I'd
good because you've been on
get
here for so long, bro.
I know. I guess I'd get picked on more. I something like that. That's the only thing I could think of.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Imagine,
all right.
Never mind.
All right, let's look at this. Let's look at the news here. So Bitcoin price potentially could have bottomed at 108K. Now there's 3 reasons that Cointelegraph is putting out why it is over. Okay. Or, you know, as far as the dump, the worst is over. Being behind us. Entry adjusted dormancy hits Bitcoin bottom. This is kind of an interesting metric used to determine whether Bitcoin market has bottomed out in the entity adjusted dormancy flow. Fancy terms, it represents the ratio of Bitcoin and the current market capitalization and the annualized dormancy value measured in US dollars. Historically, the drop in the indicator below 250,000 in the red circles on this graph presents that good historical buy zone and has often preceded significant price recoveries or marked the end of price corrections. Indicator dropped to a low of 133,300 on Thursday. This actually shows me that this is another metric showing that this is a very different market. It's more of a consistent muted rise up and to the right is what this is turning into. The STH net unrealized profit and loss has also flipped negative. Short-term holder net unrealized profits, they call this the NUPL, flip negative, signaling stress among recent buyers, those holding Bitcoin for less than 150 days. And then the STH capitulation events have historically marked these periods of market resets, often laying out groundwork for kind of renewed accumulation interest. These are those big washouts where people get those juicy entry points, and usually they're at previous market, short-term peaks. We haven't gone all the way into the red zone with this metric as of yet, but I'd say if we keep writhing around and do as I'm expecting and just flop and grope here for a minute, then I'm of the opinion actually that this metric will get even deeper into the red and signal even more confluence to what we're looking for here. And then we have Bitcoin price action since September 18th has led to the appearance of a V-shaped pattern on the 12-hour chart. Let's actually just go look at the 12-hour chart for ourselves to figure out what we're dealing with here. Is the bottom in, or are bags going to zero? And really, I don't have the 12-hour up here. Let's just look at the daily. This is what's making me feel really good about this. I haven't been able to feel this bullish on the daily in quite some time. The daily came down, printed a green dot, has the VWAP trigger in front of it, and we have not printed a red dot on the weekly. As of right now, we're still actually building out from last week's red weekly dot. And this actually is giving signs we're getting slightly higher lows here. We're showing buying interest, a little bit of strength at this zone that I left green because I felt like it was still buying pressure. The weekly is where the broader stroke needs to really continue up. We have the money flow is giving me hope today as well, showing that we had this start at the kind of mid last week point, and it sharply got rejected, and we had to run back down down to about 108, 107 right there. But I am seeing the weekly start to attempt this upward trend on money flow as well. Things are actually looking pretty dang bullish for me on Bitcoin. In retrospect, if we do indeed get that bounce from this buy zone, this will look very, very similar to most of these reset washout dumps of the past, like this one here on April 7th of 2025, which basically just brought us down to a short-term high that was established in March of 24. So this is kind of what I'm watching for. Structurally, it makes sense to come back down, test this. But I'm feeling pretty damn bullish. I'm feeling pretty bullish. I've not been shy about being bullish as we lead up to this situation. Do y'all remember the blockchain basement was formed when we were right around $17,000 Bitcoin, and the pundits, the geniuses, were out there telling you to wait for 10K, for 3K. We did not have that opinion. Right now, it seems like this washout has really reset, kind of the hyper greed moment that we had hit. Open interest had hit all-time highs in some instances, and now fear and greed is coming in neutral. I'll make this a little bit different here. So this actually, I'm keeping you on your toes, aren't I? I got a different way for doing things. I kind of found a way around the system where I can do the widescreen on the bottom shot here. But this fear and greed, Isaac, look at how, what I was talking to you about and wanted your opinion about it on is because this fear nearly hit extreme fear in this last pullback here. So seeing this metric nearly come all the way back down, it makes me feel like we got some time to cook. It makes me feel like we got some time to cook. So you took some profits off drift. There's some big things coming for Solana in terms of staking ETFs coming down the pipe. What's your opinion on how you're going to handle your Solana? You're heading into the military, right? I don't know if you're quite going to have access to it. How are you going to kind of handle that situation, Isaac?
Well, my father is pretty well versed in crypto and been in stocks for over almost 2 decades now. He's with the
So you got people watching your back, watching your
Wall Street. So
because I feel like
got my
if we
financial
go
back.
if I wake up and Solana's at $500 and drift is however much, I'm gonna try every way possible to get a hold of you and tell you to jeet. But as long as it's what friends in crypto matter, folks. Right? Friends in crypto matter.
Exactly. Unless you're Sack Nasty and asking for your keys.
Yeah, never give Sack Nasty.
It's banned.
Never. This post, I don't know if you saw this, everyone. 941 the pigeon, level 941. He had talked about deleting his account if Bitcoin didn't recapture all-time highs by, I think it was like yesterday or the day before. The entire saga of 941, this pigeon calling for new Bitcoin all-time highs, the Fibonacci head, the Fibonacci body. This is a pretty funny crypto account to follow. Now, I don't take the advice of the pigeon that, we were going to go to all-time highs and I went all in with longs. No, but entertainment in crypto, absolutely. Glad to see the pigeon still here. Now, general metrics on where these ETFs are moving. We had September 30th update. 10 Bitcoin ETFs had a net inflow of 3,100 Bitcoin. This is Fidelity inflows. And looking pretty strong on the Fidelity inflows. Fidelity might be cooking in the oven, trying to catch up with the IBIT inflows, with the IBIT Bitcoin holdings. It currently holds 200,000 Bitcoin. I think that's actually slightly more than the US government. So Fidelity now definitely showing its teeth in terms of being a big, big player in these Bitcoin ETF holdings. And then Ethereum had positive inflows. This is healthy to see positive inflows on both Ethereum and Bitcoin. We had 100,000 Ethereum inflow worth about $500 million. Fidelity had a good portion of that with 48,000 of those Ethereum, and it currently holds 763,000 Ethereum. So I think the notable thing out of this data and just this general update is that we are now seeing positive inflows on both Ethereum and Bitcoin, which is a very, very healthy signal for me to see. It's been kind of choppy back and forth. One day Bitcoin's up, the other day Ethereum was up in terms of ETF inflows. I do have just a gut feeling that this graph is driving some of the interest into what Bitcoin and Ethereum is. This is gold continuously, hour after hour. It's felt like going to new all-time highs. It hit I think just under $3,900 an ounce here. Let's actually go check in on gold. This is the Aster chart. I was looking at this on the arena earlier. Simply put, I think that it's very important to see $1.49 hold up. It's a center point of a generalized W pattern. Oftentimes, I see price come back down to these midpoints to find that support and then zip on up. Aster's had a nice pullback, but let's actually look at gold and check in on gold. Yeah, I mean, this thing is actually, look, it's trying to angle for new all-time highs. This is on the hourly for gold. Gold is signaling that the system as we know it is not trusted, that the large money knows interest rates into inflationary returns are coming. A very similar macroeconomic storm to what was found in the 70s to 80s. I mean, it didn't go hyperinflationary, but people around from that time frame that had money to buy real estate on the dip literally created generational wealth, legacy wealth. So seeing these metrics, it's like we could be, kind of paralyzed by the fear, or just move aggressively and know that it's going to be a disgusting buyer's market if we see stagflation really get admitted by the powers that be, by the mainstream media, and by the Federal Reserve. The buying opportunity that it will present will be absolutely legendary. So, acknowledging this information, but yet moving with swiftness and violence with monetary precision. And I worded that carefully there. Going to be very, very important, right? So this gold chart, going to new all-time highs, it's a signal that the larger context of trust within monetary systems is being broken. And within that, we have Trump kind of going nuts this morning. Now, there is something going on with the military brass first and foremost, which we need to talk about. And I don't know, we're still in strike jail, so I'm not going to go get us jammed up in YouTube jail again. But Trump, here's in the best words: I'm going to be meeting with generals and with admirals and with leaders, and if you don't like someone, I'm going to fire them on the spot. In so many words, this is what Trump said. Walking into this military leadership meeting. Isaac, did you happen to catch the military leadership meeting this morning?
Nope, I did not, unfortunately.
Dude, I mean, they've rebranded to the Department of War, but they're like doing away with a lot of the constraints that the military had to deal with, like waiting to be shot at, trying to be politically correct. They're like washing all of that away, and running it back to old school military approach, which I find kind of interesting. And one aspect, it makes sense from a leadership in the military. You need to know that your system is not built for just defense or peace. Are you bullish going into the military now that you see these DEI programs washed away? Like, give me your take on this, because Trump, I mean, he went and spoke. Pete Hegseth went and spoke as well. They're rolling it back. What's your take on the excitement? Are you excited to go into the military under this new design?
I'm very, very excited. DI is now being washed out. Beautiful thing to hear. That sentence right there, golden. Beautiful, beautiful, so beautiful. I don't know what I could say entirely, but all I am going to say is that they're making the military great again. They're getting the cucks out. They're bringing the based in. We're so back, baby.
And I like it. You're thinking about what you're going to say, right? Because you never know. You never know. Other news that happened today, too, is Vice President Vance came up and he talked about the Schumer shutdown. Now, Chuck Schumer on the Democrat side, setting up a pretty partisan way of shutting the government down. And this is Vance's words: "You don't use your policy disagreements as leverage to not pay our troops. The American people are going to suffer because Democrats in Congress won't do the right thing." I'm not sitting here, with a violin hoping that the government remains open forever. I think that the government shutdown, it really doesn't monetarily affect me too much, but there are some notes here. Basically, across 3 major shutdowns in recent past, right? Bitcoin was barely even a blip on the radar. We're looking at price appreciation around 26% average increase. gaining 2 out of 3 times. The government shutdown, I don't think is going to mess with charts too badly. We're going into this government shutdown, and gold is going to absolute parabolic highs. And many people across the Bitcoin sphere, they see the national debt going to where it's going, and they're not thrilled. But I can understand, like, it made me think, like, Isaac's going into the military. I'm like, fine. I guess he's talking about Isaac maybe not getting paid if we remain shut down.
Damn. Yeah, I'd heard
they,
about that.
they always come to a middle of the road agreement, though. They literally always do. So, we'll probably see that worked on over the weekend, yada, yada, yada. But this is absolutely nuts to see this as well. Happening today at the White House. This is Caroline the Vet. The White House is planning to unveil a direct-to-consumer website for Americans to buy drugs, and they're dubbing this Trump RX, okay? As well as announcing Pfizer plans to lower prices on several medications across the U.S. Pfizer leads also in on this rollout with Trump RX. The medical industry is something I feel like is one of the bigger scams. As you can see, Isaac, he highlights what a scam is quite often. This is what I found out, though, Isaac. Okay? And this is just me, maybe old man griping to you on your way out into the world. But if you don't have insurance, medical insurance, it seems like medical care is cheaper, vastly cheaper than it is if you have medical insurance. And what I've seen just in my test bit, I'm not trying to say it's for everyone. Don't come after me, medical industrial complex. But it seems to me like if I don't have insurance, I'll go in there, I'll need some service, they'll charge like $200, right? If I do have medical insurance, then I come in there, they do the basic, checkup. It's $200 plus, $1,000 or $800 that they figure the insurance is going to cover. It seems that whether I have insurance or not, they charge you regardless. Insurance feels like a scam. Drug prices are a scam. I really, really doubt that the Pfizer CEO is going to suddenly have a change of heart and help people out at the behest of Trump. It'd be great to see that actually come to fruition. I'm just very, very cautiously optimistic about these types of things because, they talk about accomplish all the things in life. Get your medical insurance. Make sure you got the best medical insurance. You go in there and everything doesn't even get covered. The same thing goes for these major insurance agencies and like housing and roofing and stuff like that. It's just so insane. The scam is real on many different levels. But this is actually interesting, this next story, Isaac. Look at this. So Trump is committing to spend another $1 trillion on the military. Big bucks coming in and spent on the military over the next, outlook.
Are we allowed to look at guns? Are we allowed to look at
we
guns?
can't talk about we're live streaming everywhere, so hold on there.
I know, but it is
Two-way
about
items. No, I mean, I'm not
their
really.
budget.
But something about this that I wanted to ask you, Isaac, is we see $1 trillion planning to be spent in the U.S. military. Have you had any people that are on their way in talking about, and I guess this might be a tough question for you to answer. Maybe I don't want you to answer it, but I've just been hearing a lot of influxes of medical gear, of basic items that I see armies prepare with when they are getting ready for massive kinetic conflict, right? Not word conflict, kinetic conflict. Seen a lot of these things built up in the past. Do you think over or under? Say 1, if you think we're going for it. Say 2, if this is all posturing. Are we actually going to be seeing hot conflict in the next few years, or is this all just prep? What say
3.
you?
I'm in 3. I'm in the middle.
You're in the middle. Okay,
I'm in the middle.
That's good to be safe, right? That's good to be safe. Really, we're in a situation where the media is used to keep your heads low, and a lot of the conflicts back and forth that we see, like Trump over the last few weeks, seemingly leaning more so on the Ukrainian side, saying that, Ukraine can win. I think really the bigger focus was more so going to be domestically. and in things like this, like right as Trump was talking during that military briefing this morning, he released the White House released this on their website. They're deploying federal resources to Portland, Oregon. They're not deploying them across the planet. They're deploying them locally to different spots, and this is in relevance to, how do I say this? ANTIFA, I guess, is the best way to say it without being zapped by YouTube overlords. But they're going in after that organization. And, I think that more domestic involvement is probably something that's going to go on. And Trump is playing the word salad. He's not making much room for negotiation for Gaza in this Trump Plaza East plan. So, this whole we got a great peace deal as long as they go for it. There's a very strong likelihood that Hamas may not go for it. And we see a continuation in that regards. Could be why we saw Bibi in the White House rubbing shoulders and shoring up alliances yesterday, right? It all just makes you wonder as you see these things happen. And now we have Joy Reid advertising for the Republican Party. Now they want to take us back to no income tax, no regulations, earn what you want, family inherits everything. What a terrible selling point, and what a weird thing to say for someone that opposes the Republican Party. Basically couldn't sell the Republican Party any harder with that kind of conversation. Now we got to talk about ETH. Okay, we're talking about founders of ETH potentially dumping and moved $6 million of Ethereum to a crypto index ETF, expanding holders digest to September 21st through the 27th. Ethereum co-founder shifted $6 million of Ethereum. They sent it to Kraken on Thursday. Wilkie sent another $1,500 worth of Ether, around $6 million. They were selling into the big dump that happened Friday. Now, is it crazy to imagine someone that was, buying Ethereum in the dollar, maybe even cent range, selling it, jeeting it when it's at $4,000+ a piece? In my opinion, no, right? And changing of hands from these old bags into new ETH treasuries, new ETH ETFs, staking on top of Ethereum. Now we have massive regulatory clarity for how these products can be used, how people can use them to earn yield. And a lot of this movement, I think, is just sloshing from what was the old design, kind of keeping your head low under the SEC's nose, to now, the SEC is moving to a pretty pro crypto plan. And they even came out with this earlier this morning, even highlighting that further. The SEC is moving to allow stocks to trade like crypto, where stocks would trade on chain. Okay. Now, under this plan, investors could buy the token on a crypto exchange that represents a share of a company like Tesla or Nvidia, but also leave some great excitement for products like Ondo that are moving to actually tokenize Wall Street. It leaves a lot of upside for real world assets in general. And I think what we see, gold's going to all-time highs. Bitcoin, I believe, is right behind it. M2 is going absolutely ballistic. We're sending another $1 trillion into the military. Our national debt's creeping right under $40 trillion, and no one seems to be batting an eye because it's all in the name of cultural betterment. But the national debt continues to expand. Social Security still is slated to run out by 2035. And I see an immense opportunity as the world is collapsing into real assets of value, real world assets, real assets of value. These are commingled conversations. I think that assets that actually have a tangible good or Bitcoin or something proven behind them are really where the world is shifting right now. As we're seeing the DXY continue to fall, and the DXY as of today looking very, very ugly. The DXY is not set up well on a chart perspective. This is the 15-minute on the DXY. It's actually playing out a internal head and shoulders pattern here. It's actually broken that shoulder and starting the process a little bit lopsided, but we could be seeing something all the way down to the 97-cent mark. And what is this trend line here? I actually want to see, because this is the whole reason why Bitcoin is this continual loss of our buying power. It's actually knocking on the door of this trend line, which is very, very sketchy to see for the dollar. expecting a bounce, even if it is a fake bounce, but we are knocking on the door of this literally, this week of. I'm going to be watching out for this. It's tapped this zone a few times. But the loss of confidence in the dollar, where you never hear the word petrodollar slung around anymore. The trust that was within the world reserve currency, and it is still the world reserve currency, the US dollar, has been eroded in a very, very ferocious way over the past 10 years. Now, where that trust ends up going, it's pretty clear that a good majority of it is going to move into tangible goods. Gold, real estate, Bitcoin, I think even vehicles are going to be a strong play. Tangible goods, right? This is where I'm looking at to actually park my value. And there's a lot of excitement that I find in the advancements of nanonuclear technology, small nuclear reactors, nanotechnology in the medical field. Like, there's a lot of things that are coming up over the next 5 or 10 years, which I think we can find great upside in. But if we stick to our guns that the way things were are just how they're going to move forward being, I think that's where a lot of people are going to be taken by surprise, because this is a setup for a reset. And now what we have is what I have in my life is I have people that are not even connected to crypto. They look at crypto as a scam. They don't know what the hell I'm doing when I'm talking about being on chain, trading, blah, blah, blah. They have no idea, right? They're calling me, they're sending me videos of what a future under a CBDC system actually will look like if not left unchecked. There's a lot of fear about the government literally being able to control what you can buy, what you can say, what you can think, what you can search for on the internet, and shutting down your buying power with a government controlled central bank digital currency. Now, there's the disconnect of Bitcoin being in that same realm. And this is actually where the great power of Bitcoin really truly is being able to be stored on a cold storage device. On one of these, if you use a ledger, great, but I use Arculus. I like Arculus cold storage. They're very easy. And these are how I can onboard people onto becoming their own bank much, much easier than the average crypto storage device. So, huge shout out to them as a sponsor, but huge shout out to everyone that's willing to become their own bank and overcome some of that hesitancy. It's not easy taking all that responsibility onto your own shoulders. I have a lot of respect for basically everyone in crypto that is willing to do that, right? Maybe I don't have much respect for hexicans that wish to only, let third parties hold them. But I actually, most hexicans that I've found, they try very, very hard. I've been trying to be nicer to hexicans. I don't know if you've noticed that or not, Isaac, but I am.
I don't know why you would do such a thing, such treachery.
I feel bad. Okay. I feel bad because the chart. I feel bad because the chart. I'm not going to lie. The pulse chain chart makes me feel bad. I've deported everyone around me that was a Hexican already, so I can't really do much about the situation, but it is what it is. And are we getting a nice pump out of Bitcoin? Let's go take a look here. On my spidey senses are tingling. Are we getting some juice here? Let's go to the 5-minute. Oh yeah. All right, we're getting some juice. We're getting some life, a nice bounce off of there. Good looking. Good looking. Actually, that's as quite well. My little monologue pumped the market by almost, it's 0.6%. So the market's like what I was putting down there. But, this is where you can see the world is changing. You can see the way that you buy products has changed provably. You know that advancements in technology are going to continue. So it's about how to position in a way that captures as much upside as possible, because I think AI is a good one. I think crypto is a great one. I think that tangible goods like gold and silver probably going to be pretty good plays. I'm just not interested in top blasting the gold chart right now. Bitcoin, I just feel more comfortable top blasting. Long term, feel more comfortable top blasting it. Hexicans here, you guys are going to eat your words. I hope so, Chris. I hope so. And you could be less toxic about it, because I don't, necessarily eat words. It's not my jam.
You're gonna eat zero.
I want to actually, now that we're on the subject, let's actually go look at PulseX. Right? You know what? We got one in the chat, and I don't even have the
Make my
deport
day.
button. I got rid of the deport button. Okay. Pulse X. Let's go look. Let's
Make my day.
check it out. God, it just keeps falling.
Hit the all
Like,
time.
I'm like, whereabouts? All right. And this is one Hexican pointed me to this. He's like, this is where we're, this is our shining light of system integrity and health can be seen on PulseX, PLSX. If there's something better and not one of your obscure little tiny memes that launched today that everyone's bidding on and will go to zero tonight, give me a systemically important chart to Pulse Chain to honestly review if there's health from a data perspective, right? That's a thing that they won't do, right, Isaac? And it is, but they're out there trying to make money, and shout out to it. Shout out to it. I'm appreciative of the move here. Now, this is something else on ETF stuff, Isaac. You're going to be in the military. ETFs are going to be released in mass. Bloomberg ETF analyst Eric Balchunas says that the odds are really 100% now for these crypto ETFs to find approval with the SEC under the new generic listing standards. Eric Balchunas, one of the best analysts in ETFs and their relationship with crypto out there, has had some time to go over these new generic listing standards. Feel like there's a 100% chance of success on the current applications out there, which is insanely bullish for altcoins. It kind of struck me that, these institutions, they look for that upside just as us. They look for disruptive technology just as us. Altcoins are fitting both of those bills, so I don't take the ETFs being released to Wall Street lightly. This is another project, actually, I'm going to pick up a little bit of a bag of Linea. I covered it yesterday. It was shockingly integrated into Swift payment testing systems, but it's got backing and kind of the originating story from the people behind Consensus, such as Joseph Lubin, very big players behind Linea. So this is another one that's a newer project. I was looking at it yesterday. I was like, God, generally hasn't missed the boat, but this chart, it's been around for a long time. It kind of ebbs and flows. This thing's only been around since September 11th or September 10th. So it's a very new project. It's very overlooked. There's a lot of focus on the perpetual DEX movements that are going on right now with the Asters, with the Avantis, all those things. It's actually kind of looking like something that's slept on and set a good buying opportunity. And another one that I feel very strongly about is Morpho. Had a huge pullback in terms of price. I think we're around $1.50 right now. Coinbase is now releasing this $1 to $1 billion challenge complete. $1 billion on-chain loans generated through Coinbase using Bitcoin as collateral, powered by Morpho. Morpho is not stuck to just Coinbase, but Coinbase is out here feeling like bull posting for them. Very, very bullish for me. And then Kronos, partnering up with Amazon Web Services to advance institutional tokenization and real-world asset growth in AI-driven DeFi. These are good focuses. I think that real-world assets are something that it's been a long time we've been waiting for regulatory clarity and to even understand how any of this would work once we got that regulatory clarity. Now we're there. Now we're seeing how it work. And I think the testing of treasuries, I should have seen it coming. I should have seen treasuries being the most excited about this first and foremost. That is ending up to be the case. It should have been written on the walls for me. Now that it's hindsight, it's 2020, but just the token is new. Go through Tony, capitulated some memes. Bought today. Nice. I think pre-rich maybe be talking about Linea. Proof there's always a bear market in even a bull market. Wise words, Kryptonite. Absolutely. Now, Isaac, it's a sad day for me. Okay, it's a sad day for me. So what does the day look like? Are you going on vacation or anything like that before you actually go out, or are you just going straight
I'll
in?
be traveling a bunch. I'm gonna go to Alabama with some friends. Then I get back from that. I'm going to Philly a week earlier than my family to go for a wedding, and then I'll be over in Tennessee visiting my childhood best friend for a weekend up at Lee
Nice.
University, and that's and then I'll just be traveling, training. It's gonna be my whole
Mhm.
month, so
Yeah.
it's gonna be good.
Oh, it's bittersweet. If I had the song that I could get banned off YouTube for playing, I would play it right now. But everyone, Isaac's worked real hard in the background for you for quite some time. Put a W in the chat for Mr. Isaac. Now he's off to better himself. At my sadness, he's going off to better himself. But the chat is just
And being
oh
gay.
my
You want to get banned? You wanna get
oh
banned
my
again?
god, he made it out of the ban button. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, I really earnestly appreciate all the work that you've done alongside me. You see the ups and downs of crypto. I think one thing about seeing your up and coming is it gives me hope to see someone so young interested in learning about financial markets and pretty complex financial markets at that. You know, I hope that more young people can take an interest in these things. You're probably going to look like an insane person as you rattle off all these things about the Federal Reserve to your homies in the trenches as you're out
Oh yeah.
there.
Oh yes. So much I
but-
want to say, but I can't say it on this channel. Right now.
I know. And you got to keep it. And you're going to learn. There's going to be a lot of times where you're going to want to say something, but you just gotta keep it there, right? Thanks, Jose, for super chat. Dropping the thanks to AA Isaac. And you know what? We got to show where you are on Twitter, so everyone can keep up with you. 'Cause I always show my thing. Let's see here. Isaac does crypto on Twitter. Okay.
Bam.
This is him standing in front of some Hemi Dodge. You're such a Dodge maxi. It makes me sick.
I am a Dodge maxi. My entire family are Dodge maxis. The only thing we
Unbelievable.
care about is American muscle and power.
Well, make sure to go follow him. He's at Isaac Does Crypto. Maybe we'll get some unhinged selfies. There he is on our
Over in the
dual
Middle
screen
East.
there. So you know what? It's been incredible. You got us real far.
I appreciate y'all.
It's gonna be a
Love
lot
in
of
the
work
world.
filling in for you, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like
It's
I
gonna
got my
be-
work cut out for me.
Oh
Yep.
yeah, you got it though.
I'll get
You
it.
made it the past couple weeks, so
Yeah, I'm not holding it down. All right, well, Isaac, I'm gonna let you do the sign off, and I'll run the end stream. Why don't you give him a sign off?
all right, let's get this here.
There you go.
I appreciate all of y'all. Y'all have been a blessing this past almost 2 years now. Thank you for allowing me to come be unhinged with y'all. Thank you, Drew, for teaching me the ways of a based man. When I first came here, I was 125 pounds. I'm upwards 160 some pounds now.
I know. I know.
And I didn't know where I leaned until I came here and got my brain filled with all this bullish and based information. But with that being said, I love and appreciate all of y'all. Use code DC20 base 20 for 20% off your Arculus card. Stay based. Love y'all. Peace out.
We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you at the top.